Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Punting Pioneer. I'm Corbin Hosler, as always, with Cool Stuff Inc., bringing to you Burn. Look, someone's got to play it, right? I'm not a red player, but I want to give it a shot. It's completely outside of my wheelhouse. It's points and burn spells. Look, everyone always says red decks are easy to play. Red decks are not hard. You just burn it face. How difficult can it be? But look, I've covered a lot of professional play. I've covered a lot of big matches. I've covered a lot of burn players. And I have seen that there's a difference between a good burn player and a bad burn player. Frankly, I probably fall somewhere in between. So this ought to be a good opportunity for you to see where I mess up and where maybe you can do better if you want to learn the ways of the mountains. So pretty straightforward here. Red, white, burn with a twist. I'll get to that in a minute. Straightforward lands. You got your 1-drops, your Ghitu Lavarunners, your Swiftspears, your Soul-Scar Mages, and that's pretty good. Your Viashino Pyromancers, pretty decent, powerful start. You've got your burn spells, your Skewer the Critics, and your Wizard's Lightning, your Boros Charms, and your Lightning Strikes and Wild Slashes. You got your Eidolon of the Great Revel to ping your opponents when they want to keep doing stuff. It's a burn deck, right? It's pretty straightforward, except the sideboard. Lurrus of the Dream Den. You've seen it everywhere, and here it is in Burn too. Each permanent card in your starting deck has to be 2 or less. It's a 3/2 with lifelink, and each of your turns you can cast one permanent with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard. Well, all those spells I just named in our deck, those are all permanents that cost 2 or less mana. Lurrus, it's everywhere seemingly right now, Magic, and here it is in Burn. Rest of the sideboard, fairly straightforward. We've got the Wear Tears for the flexibility of removing artifacts and enchantments. Kari's expertise, steal a big creature. Searing Blood for all the creature mirrors where you want to really get your opponent's creatures. Chain to the Rocks when you need to hit the big ones. This is a cool card. You enchant a mountain to exile a creature until that mountain leaves play. And then you've got Deflecting Palm and Ash Zealot. Ash Zealot really punishes the graveyard and swings on its own, while Deflecting Palm can take a big hit, turn it right back around. So there you go, everybody. If you've ever wanted to see how Burn functions from the other side of the table, stick with me here for Punting Pioneer. I'm Corbin Hosler. Here we go. All right, everybody, Burn time with Lurrus, which we will choose as our companion to start this game. And, I mean, 4 lands is not ideal, but I do think we're going to keep this one. We remember we do have access to the Lurrus later in the game. Why don't you get things started this way? Love a run into Swiftspear and see what our opponent's up to. Being on the play, pretty nice here. Now, if we 4 lands is the upper limit of what you want to keep. That's for sure. You really want basically a 2-land hand, maybe a 3. You certainly are not looking to start on 4. That said, look, we draw a couple spells off the top of our deck. Everything will work out fine. But, you know, we draw probably 2 lands and we're just guaranteed to really just not come up with 20 points of damage. That's sort of how a burn deck works. So, you know, maybe there's some people out there who mulligan of 4-lander, but with 2 1-drops, I think it's worth keeping. And here we get, I don't know about paid off, but that is a nice one to pick up. Let's go ahead and play the Battlefield Forge, I guess. Our opponent on their own red deck ought to be interesting. Guess I'll just go ahead and do the 2 and pass the turn back. I really anticipate using this Wizard's Lightning on one of their creatures, frankly. Runaway Steamkin or something like that they might have as a 2-drop to go along with that Castle Umbreth. Kind of competing styles of red decks here. You know, there's basically, there's kind of go-wide creature decks or something like this, Goblin style. And then there's sort of a more traditional-esque burn deck with a bunch of burn spells that want to go to the face like we're playing. And I'll just go ahead and do that with this Wizard's Lightning here. Oh, maybe I don't want to. Yuck. All right. All right. Thing is, it's hard. I guess let's just attack. I don't really want to trade the Lavarunner off for these tokens. Oh, my opponent's just not going to block, huh? Well, that makes things a little easier. They don't want to walk into the 2-for... It's not even a 2-for-1. It's the thing. It would have not been good for me, but this probably works out better for me. Get this damage in while we can. This game's going to be tough. It's going to be tough with the lands that we're sporting over here. And I don't even think I want to pull the trigger on the Skewer the Critics quite yet. We have to try to hope that our opponent lets us get in another attack, and then we can draw a couple burn spells to finish it off. But another land probably be pretty killer for us here. Well, keep in mind, because we're playing red-white for the Boros Charm and the Lurrus, we don't have access to Ramanap Ruins in this list. And of course, our own Lurrus, which we can cast next turn, should that be the direction we want to go. Nothing to get value off of it quite yet, though. That said, honestly, it probably works out fine, right? If we just swing, even if the Lavarunner... Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, scratch that. Belay that order. We will be... Oh my gosh. They're going to race us? All right. I'm not quite sure the direction we're going here, but I think I'm okay with it, honestly. Especially drawing something like that. How much damage do I have to my opponent? I put him down to 6. This does 3. It puts him at 3. This puts him at 1. I can put my opponent to 1 right now. Unfortunately, 1 is not 0. And I have to worry about him doing crazy stuff with goblins, but... Alright, well. 6 to my opponent. That makes the Swiftspear do 3. That puts him down to 3. The Lavarunner then gets +1/+0 to become a 2/2, putting them down to 1. I think that's still... It's the difference between 1 and 4, and that's I have to do it. It doesn't feel particularly great. I wanted to be able to point something at this War Chief here, but I think I have to do it because I have to have him where we can kill him with a creature in play, or we can kill him. I can just cast this with Spectacle now. Or we can kill him with any burn spell off the top, and that will hopefully, prevent them from being too aggressive, and then give us a turn to actually draw that lethal. There are some ways they could punish us here for sure, but I think it's probably best we can do is put them to 1, have 2 lethal threats on board, and see where things go when they untap. And like I said at the beginning, if we drew 2 more lands, I thought we were going to lose, and it always comes down to 1 turn with burn, right? Because this is a big attack from our opponent here. Sure. Goblins all the way, huh? We will be cutting some of our creatures. Try to play as many burn spells as we can, I guess. Yep. Bring it on. It's a big attack. Alright, fingers crossed the top of our deck serves us up 2 damage. Or my opponent's going to play it incredibly conservative and keep a bunch of creatures back, huh? Alright, interesting strategy. Let's see if we can punish them for it. Maybe. Maybe punish them for it. Show me Lightning Bolt. Et al. Oh, well. Not Lightning Bolt. I got 1 attack, I guess. I suppose I can attack with both. Just remove some of their creatures from play, I guess. Yeah, I went with that light at the stage looking for a burn spell to end it. I could have played the Lurrus, I'm aware of that. But this is... Wow, my opponent just chump blocking, huh? Okay. Well, I have to say, they're giving us, I think, more opportunities than we probably deserved. I think this was supposed to be the turn where we didn't get there, we lost. But instead, I think I'm actually going to get another turn here with another light up the stage that I can cast to see what we can do. Look, I'll take it. That's the way it goes. I certainly make... It's called Punting Pioneer for a reason. I certainly make plenty of mistakes myself. And who knows? We may not... We just got to find a shock. Next turn, we can still play Lurrus if we have nothing else available. But honestly, what's going to happen is I'm going to play Light at the stage and hope that we get there. We have 3 lethal attackers. My opponent's still going to have to keep back some blocks if they can't put together some kind of lethal attack. And I don't think they have it, right? They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with the Mentor, and then 5 more with the Castle. That's 13, and I have a block. So we will see here. All right, they're going to Lightning Strike our face, followed by a Bushwhacker. Yep, this is what I was worried about. This is why they were holding. This is why they were just conserving as many creatures as they could and playing as conservatively as possible, so that they could go for the big bushwhacker hit. And this is probably enough. Maybe not though. It's not that different than the castle, right? No, this will be enough. Yep, they're gonna get through 6 creatures to have 2 power. GG. Fair enough. Onto the sideboard. Well, I think I want all these. Let's figure out what we don't want. I was going to cut all the lava runners. My plan is to kill my opponent's creatures and burn them out. The lava runners are just absolutely the worst 1-drop we could have. And we'll give this a shot. See what we can do. See if we can burn out the Goblins player. That was a fun matchup, though, actually, right? That was very back and forth. And it's cool that there was a payoff to them. You know, they made some plays that maybe outside looking in don't look ideal, but in retrospect, they worked out perfectly for them. They had a plan. They were playing towards that bushwhacker to keep the biggest field possible when they went for it. And that meant giving us a turn to draw out, which unfortunately for us, we weren't able to do, but they were able to pay it off with a lethal bushwhacker. So that was nice. Reckless bushwhacker, as it were. Didn't get to play this. The lifelink turns out would have been pretty convenient. Wouldn't have sucked. My opponent had that lightning strike, though, so they could have just pointed the lightning strike at the Lurrus, and I think they probably still would have ended up with lethal. But let's see if we can get a game here. All right, I would like to make this my companion, and I would like to keep this hand. Seems reasonable. Soul-Scar Mage, one of the I gotta read this. If Leyline of Combustion is your opening hand, you can put it in play. Sure, it's a Leyline. Whenever you, or at least one permanent you control, becomes the target of a spell or ability, Leyline of Combustion deals 2 damage to that spell's controller. So, to that player. So, if I Lightning Strike my opponent, dealing 3 to them, I take 2 from the Leyline of Combustion. Good to know. Something tells me that I will be pointing these removal spells at... Wait a minute, it's creatures too? Oh my gosh! This is a bomb in the mirror. It's kind of funny. It's pretty solid. All right, I guess. Well, luckily for us, we do have a hand with a decent creature base, so maybe we can get some damage in with the creatures rather than having to just completely get wrecked by this leyline right away. Because as it stands now, I mean, this is great. We have 3 creatures in play on turn 2. We have 2 removal spells in hand. The leyline's annoying, but we might be able to just race it anyways, depending on what my opponent ends up doing with their 2 mana here. Because the leyline is great in a race. It is not great if you're behind. So if we can get far enough ahead of our opponent in the life total race, then maybe the leyline doesn't come back to bite us. But if it's basically a parity at all, we're going to be in trouble. All right, they got the lightning strike here. That's fine. Guess we're going to get to hit our opponent for 4. Oh, or more. That's a nice one off the top. It also means that this, well, it means that this Wild Slash now is worth 3 points in prowess trigger, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it here. Maybe I'm giving my opponent, I mean, they didn't attack with it, and the rule is supposed to be right if you're not blocking, you should be attacking, and my opponent did not attack, so I can only assume that they intended on blocking. But that Wild Slash is worth 2 points at their face. It's worth 3 in prowess triggers, and it prevents them from being able to stop the damage with a block. So we actually get through a lot more damage this way. And remember what we said, we want to get out ahead of the Leyline of Combustion. So the best way to do that is to just maximize the damage to our opponent's face that we can here. So looks like we're going to get to deal 6, put him down to 12. We can't cast Lurrus. We don't have double white right now. So that's unfortunate because we actually do have permanents we could cast from our graveyard. That could come up. I'd love for our opponent to just play a 3-mana goblin or something here. Lava Coil, not exactly what I wanted to see. That said, I mean, we're looking at 8 points, 7 points that we have right now. And we're still going to need some help. That's not bad. I think I just attack here. I don't have to point anything at it anywhere yet. Searing Blood was frankly a really good draw because it means whatever they play, we can try to Searing Blood it out, put them down to 7, then we untap, and we have that 7 in hand. Although I guess the Instigator guarantees that you're going to get a chump block in. Somewhere. And slow our plans down a little bit. Now they're actually... okay. You have a Bushwhacker, but let's see what you want to do with it, because... I mean, look, if my opponent attacks with 2 creatures, they lose the game. They attack with 3 creatures, they lose the game. Yeah, this game's over. Okay. I guess I'll go ahead and do this because I can. No reason to take the damage. Well, we'll take the damage from the ley line, but you know what I mean. All right. Yep, that was just very, very good for us. The Searing Blood, putting them down to 7. Untap, we go down to 10 to point this lightning strike at him. But that'll be the game. This is a close one. You know, look, we win. We're at 12 life. It feels good. If this game wasn't necessarily in doubt, but it could have gone a little differently, right? If we just don't have one more point of damage right here, if we're 1 short, well, then we have to start worrying about our opponent untapping and killing us like they did in game 1 with some kind of Bushwhacker play. But fortunately, we got there against the ley line, which did, what, 4 damage to us? 0 mana, 4 damage. Not the worst. See what we can do in game 3. Goblins is kind of a sweet deck to run into in the queues here. All right, I don't really think we want to change anything. I mean, the cards we had that were good are still good, and we still have a lot of bad cards. So, I mean, honestly, the deck without the Lava Runners looks a lot better. Prowess is just so different than, you know, the upside of having a bear with the Ghitu Lavarunner. The Ash Zealot First Strike could come in handy here as well. I think that this seems pretty reasonable. First Strike, one of the best things when your opponent is bushwhacking and trying to give their creatures, you know, +1, +0, +2, +0. Coming at you with all these 3/1s and 4/1s, all you really want to do is put a 2/2 First Striker in front of them. All right, heat check here. If I chose to keep this one, I'm not going to. I really want to. Oh, wow, maybe I am. It's got to light up the stage, everybody. This is so greedy, though. Ash Zealot's really good. Yeah, sure, they got the ley line. My opponent's gotten lucky with 2 ley lines in a row. Surely I can get lucky on the draw of hitting a land, right? Come on, deck. And the thing is, it's also conceivable that our Swiftspear just gets in there on turn 2, and we get a light at the stage. I mean, I think this is actually, if you're going to talk about keeping 1-landers, probably about as good as it can get. And the thing is, it is a lot. It's harder to say the Swiftspear is for sure going to get in against our opponent because they could just choose to chump block it and prevent something like Spectacle. But I think that the alternative, we can also just draw a land to get there, is pretty appealing here. Let's see if Magic Online's on our side tonight. That's what it comes down to. Look at that, a perfect one off the top. Look, when you're good, you're good. No, but honestly, that's how it looks. It looks like when you're good, you're good. But the reality is, that's a calculated risk. We ran the odds, and it at least seemed like a reasonable decision to make. Not going to say you make your own luck, but a lot of things that to people might seem like luck, where a pro might get lucky to top deck their way out of it by drawing these certain cards. Well, the reality is those pros are sitting there always contemplating what could get them out of a given situation and how they can lose in a given situation. So those plays that may seem like a miracle top deck, well, maybe that player played miraculously for 3 turns to even get there. That's sort of the way you can never have a cool against the odds moment unless you have made the odds really bad for yourself. And that's living as long as possible and taking these narrow lines that might get there. But it looks really cool when it does. So I get to see some pretty cool things doing coverage, and I appreciate watching the masters at work. I'll say it like that. Could use some of that luck myself here, though, as my opponent shocked out our Swiftspear. All right, hitting the land. Pretty decent. I think I'm just going to get in with the Ash Zealot. We're still ahead in the race. We want to keep as much pressure on our opponent as possible due to the ley line of combustion here. Plus, they're down to 2 cards in hand. That makes a crazy Bushwhacker play a little less likely. And we get to follow up with another Zealot and a Light Up the Sage or Skewer next turn. So the first strikers are pretty difficult for our opponent's horde of goblins to deal with. So this could work out pretty well for us. And they also make great blockers if my opponent goes real wide here. Okay. Impact Trimmers. We're playing Commander now. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, Impact Trimmers deals 1 damage to each opponent. Make a bunch of goblins ping us with every one of them. It is certainly a strategy. That's funny. I like that. Okay, so with that said, how do I want to play this turn? I think I'm going to play it defensively. Given this silly Impact Trimmers, the fact our opponent's down to 1 card in hand, and our top decks are probably better than their Skirk Prospector top decks, I'm gonna try to go this Light Up the Stage route here. Just make sure we fully pull ahead. And I'm gonna take some damage off the stupid ley line, but I think it's okay. I'm gonna take 4 off it. I'm just gonna clear their board. So that with the Castle Embereth in play, I think it's correct. We don't want to take the hits back from those things. And with this silly Impact Trimmers in play, I don't want. I just don't want to get poked for any extra damage. If we're gonna have to remove them at some point, let's just remove them now, and then let's hope our double Ash Zealot can carry the day after that. We'll see. We'll see. Our opponent, now they're in a situation where instead of any land being good because it allows them to activate Castle Embereth or get closer to their Ramanap rooms, etc., any land is just bad for a little bit because there's nothing to pump. And our life total is at a pretty decent space. Now we get to pop in for 4 and immediately swing the race into our favor. Hitting land there for us, certainly not ideal, but that said, I think we're in a pretty good spot here. I'm not quite sure what our opponent could have that could start racking up 13 points too quickly, unless it's some kind of combo-ish, you know, put a bunch of tokens into play sort of strategy. I guess the War Chief's going to get in there for 2, though. All right, that's it. So what they have is what they have. They're in top deck mode. We are going to take 2 here. We're going to go down to 10. We're going to untap. If we hit a burn spell or a haste prowess creature, I guess a Monastery Swiftspear, we actually just win the game. We'll be able to point lethal at our opponent. If not, then we will be able to bolt down the War Chief, get him for 4, put our opponent down to 5. And it looks like my opponent is probably packing it in. They're actually talking to me in chat here, so. All right, that was a nice match. That was a nice match. Well, there we go, everybody. Burn, taking it down. That was a fun one. All right, let's hop into the next one. Let's keep burning up some opponents. That was cool. Everybody, here we go. It is time for Lurrus Burn, because why not? You can play the Nightmare Cat everywhere, it turns out. And you know what? I am absolutely in for this hand. Soul-Scar Mage on 1. We got options after that. This is a Pioneer Burn hand you want to see. Let's see what we can do with it. Let's see what our opponent's up to also. I think we're on the draw here. Hard to say, actually. I can't tell. But if we are on the draw, that makes our hand a little worse. Yeah, it looks like we are. We're less likely to hit in necessarily with a Soul-Scar Mage. Oh, Gilded Goose, huh? Well, now it's become very relevant that we're on the play versus the draw, because on the draw here, not really anything we can do but play our Soul-Scar Mage and pass the turn. And honestly, this is going to be problematic for us moving forward. If we were on the play, we could have played the Wizard's Lightning for 1 there instead of dealing with this. Although if my opponent is using their mana here to traverse, 1, that means they probably need the mana from that. Well, maybe not, I guess. They're also playing 70, 80 cards. Okay. Okay. Sure. Well, this is... Never know what you're going to find on the the Battlefields of Magic online, I guess. I mean, I do have to just... I just have to Wizard's Lightning this thing. And then attack. And my opponent goes for the block. Okay, so, all right, fair enough. They did the ramp thing, but we slowed it down a little bit. They have this random food token now. I mean, that was not... That's just so bad for us. It was mana inefficient and everything else, and now my opponent with Uro. This is not where you want to be as a burn player, as it turns out. It's really hard when you're on the draw against Gilded Goose Arboreal Grazer, though. Uro. That is a curve made to destroy red decks. There's not really a lot you can do about it either. It doesn't really feel great from the red side, I have to say. All right, my opponent's just gonna go for the blocks. All right, well, we'll play our Eidolon here. I guess we'll make them cast that Uro slightly less beneficial for them. It's still pretty good though. All right, well maybe they're stuck on lands and mana here. We can get somewhere. I'm definitely going to be doing damage to myself, that's for sure. As much as I want to just Wild Slash that stupid Arboreal Grazer to get it out of here, is that worth it? I don't think so. I just want to play double Pyromancer here. Put as much power into play as we can. And we're definitely going to get torched by our own Eidolon, but that is what it is. Okay. You know, in a normal game, when your opponents don't have main deck life gain, I have to say, hitting someone with the Pyromancer trigger, it feels pretty good. Because you know, that's one less card you have to draw. Plus, you have the 2/1 body left over. You're just kind of getting there, right? But I have to say, when your opponent gets 3 life randomly this way, that feels a little less good. All right, so Fatal Push for our opponent here. And they're also going to crack their food to gain some life. Oh, this all seems reasonable. The 4 damage we took off that Eidolon, honestly not a big deal. We're going to have to draw very well to win this game, though. I'm not sure exactly what we're looking for. And unfortunately, our opponent found another source of mana over there. All right, Wizard's Lightning. All right, so we got a Wizard's Lightning down the stupid Grazer just to get in the damage. And swing in. It's 6. We get him down to 12. I'd say we're making progress. You know, our opponent doesn't have 2 blue to escape this Uro right now. So that is something we have going for us. Because if they were to resolve the escape of that and we can't win when we untap, the game would just be over pretty clearly, right? They would they'd get to attack and gain a bunch of life and so on. So I think I do it like this. I don't think we can trick them into taking a bad 1 here. Yeah, they were always going to take the 2, so we'll do it this way where we can at least punish them as best we can. And you know what? These draws aren't half bad either. This takes out the Atris. We get the Prowess. Is this lethal? Probably not quite. All right, so this is 6. The trigger would be 7. The Wild Slash would make it 8, 9. So not quite lethal. We do have our opponent down to 6, though. We might be able to put something together. You know, heck, we probably can't beat an Uro, but we could almost beat an Uro. No, this is going to be very close, though. Our opponent couldn't find all of their mana when they needed it. Now, they do have Delirium for this Traverse the Ulvenwald, so I'm going to get whatever creature or land, I guess, that they want. Honestly, they're probably still just supposed to get a basic island, right, and escape Uro and hope that that's good enough. Which it might be. It puts them back up to 9. They block 1. They take 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's not lethal. We're going to have to draw. 3 points of damage. All right. Lightning Bolt or bust for us here. Definitely probably want some Kari Zev's expertise after sideboarding. I'd like to seal that Uro and get 1 big attack in with it. That's all I need. This is pretty good, though. Yep, back up to 9. All right, let's just find a Lightning Bolt and get there, though. That's all we need. Lightning Bolt, please. Wizard's Lightning, Skewer the Critics. Come on, game. Does that do it? I have a feeling that doesn't quite do it. Guess we'll find out. Something tells me that leaves us 1 point short. But I guess we'll see. Mass for the blockers. Nope. That's... Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we got him down to 1. They go back up to 4 with the attack. They have a billion cards. I don't know. It depends how many blockers they can put up. But they have a lot of options. Even just escaping another Uro to gain another 3 life would be good enough, I think. So, I don't know. Tough call here. This thing is insane. I've played a bit of this in historic Kethis combo, and just bringing it back repeatedly with the recursion in that deck, namely Teshar, the 4-drop that returns historic cards to play or creature cards to play when you cast a historic spell. Just recurring your Uro, using it to ramp with Mox Ambers, just repeatedly putting lands into play. It gets pretty dirty. Unfortunately, now our opponent's doing it in return, and they're tapping big here. What is this? 4 mana for another Atris. Okay. If this is it, we actually are still kind of alive. Okay, here's the line. Here's the line. This is dead easy. They're probably taking the 1-card pile because they know this game's lasting 1 more turn. So, if they take the 2-card pile and get the Abrupt Decay, we're dead. Oh, they did. Okay. Unfortunate. That is how that works, right? Oh, I see. One of those was face up and one's face down. I understand. That works not quite the way I thought it did. All right, good to know. You know what's sad is this is my preview card. On my podcast, Brainstorm Brewery, which you should check out. We got to preview this card. Here I am forgetting what it does. That doesn't quite do it. GG. All right, on to game 2. That was a close one. Chain to the Rocks, I think. I wonder if I was supposed to cast this somewhere in there. I don't know if we had... Maybe we were. I just got to remember to play with companions, people, because I am not. I will tell you, I'm struggling remembering to play around with this card right now. I'm just going to keep it open to my screen. I'm going to pull it up really large so we can't miss it. All right, I'll probably take a couple Chain to the Rocks here. Let's see what this looks like. Not really sure how to board here, as you might have guessed, as I pick up this deck for the first time. Something tells me I was probably supposed to play Lurrus at some point in that last game. So, chalk that one up to a punt. Oh well. Punting Pioneer, right? Honestly, I've heard so many stories of people just forgetting about their companions that I'm not surprised that, look, I'm just representative of the whole here. I don't know if it would have made a difference last game or not. I mean, we used our mana fairly efficiently right up to the end, but I don't know if we had anything in the graveyard that would have made a difference. Maybe we did. I'm not sure. Probably did. I just blew it. Oh well. We'll come back to win anyways. All right, it's my partner. It's huge. I'm never forgetting it. Companion. Okay. All right. Meanwhile, working with our hand here. Yeah, I'm going to keep this one. This hand looks pretty nice. Ash Zealot's a nice one here, too, because first strike haste, already pretty decent for a 2-2. But whenever a player casts a spell from a graveyard, it deals 3 damage to them. I guess maybe this doesn't work the way I want it to against Uro, though, because... No, escape means you cast it for the escape cost. Yeah, this should hit him. So we can at least cancel out the life gain from it. Unfortunately, I don't have a wizard. Oh, I say that. There's a wizard, because now I want to just Wizard's Lightning down this Gilded Goose and not give them the opportunity to get the mana out of that. Always bolt the bird, right? That still works out to be fairly mana efficient here. Yeah, next turn we can swing, hopefully, cast Light Up the Stage, hit a land, play an Ash Zealot. Yep, that's certainly a creature we can attack into. Gilded Goose, Lazov, Ishkana. All right, all kinds of value into their graveyard over there. Sultai Delirium player, but no Uro, which is good. All right, Chain to the Rocks. Could be good later. It's a neat card. I love this design from original Theros. Enchant Mountain you control. Okay, so we hit our opponent. Let's run this light at the stage. Give me mountains, please. Post combat, not exactly when you want to be playing this stuff, but hey, you do what you got to do, right? Now we can actually get away with playing this Eidolon, I think. Then we get to untap. We can play Ash Zealot plus Chain to the Rocks, or Ash Zealot plus Wild Slash. This actually looks pretty good for us here. All right, very nice. So, all right, Ash Zealot. Yep, definitely taking some damage from our own Eidolon, but we're going to have a big swing this turn. I think I want a Wild Slash the Satyr Wayfinder. Not them. Yeah. Because this swing would prevent two. It's all the same, really, probably. All right. Yes. Put all these sugars on the stack. My opponent probably sacking their food here. Yep, sure. So that puts them back up to 16. We get our Wild Slash in. We get to move to combat. Attack for, what is this, quite a bit. 8 damage here. Yeah, that's pretty decent. We've got a removal spell as a follow-up plus another Eidolon. This is not a bad spot to be in at all for us right now. And this Ash Zealot makes, if they did have the Uro, punishes them a little bit for it. It looks like they might be trying to escape an Uro, cast the front end of an Uro. Nope, just Tireless Tracker. Well, you know what? That is the perfect target for a Chain to Rocks and winning the game for us. Now, I guess if they have Fatal Push, that's probably the best one for them. But even then, they're just dead on board, right? This game seems fairly over. And I guess we'll show it to them, whatever. We're playing Burn. It's not like it's a real secret what we're doing. Don't think they play any differently when we have Chain to the Rocks versus not. But okay, so we got through that game. On to game 3. Let's see what we can do here. This is tempting. I don't think it's good here, but it is tempting. I love that card. I hated losing to it, so if I'm playing Burn, I'm going to love it. That's how it works. All right, remember we have access to Lurrus this game. I don't know about this hand, though. I don't think we can keep five landers even on the draw. This hand is much better. I can just ship back this Battlefield Forge and have a pretty reasonable 6. Now, this hand knows what it wants to do, and this, unfortunately, is the kind of hand if our opponent just Uro turn 3, Uro turn 4, turn 5 or something, there's not going to be anything we can do about it. This hand does one thing, and that's attack. I probably should have played the Soul-Scar Mage there. Misclicked. I don't think it's going to matter too much. Next time I'm just going to play the Swiftspear plus the Soul-Scar Mage anyways. All right, let's see what they got. Oh, so they're traversing here on turn 2 for a basic land. The 80 card pile over here. Hey, you got Uro. It's a good pile, right? Oh, Deathrite Shaman. Now we're talking. Oh, I can't even attack. Huh. All right. Whatever, I guess. I mean, I do still get to attack. Sure. Well, no great. I mean, I guess if they have the follow-up Fabled Passage here, they get a ramp out of it. If they get creatures into the graveyard, they can gain some life. I mean, it is a Deathrite Shaman. It's a 1-mana Planeswalker, banned in almost every format, but somehow not Pioneer. Crazy how much of a difference fetch lands make to the power of Deathrite Shaman, right? All right, looks like we just get to keep swinging on in and seeing what happens, I guess. Let's see what the play is. A Courser of Kruphix. Well, now we're in trouble. Now we're dead. I actually just don't think we can beat that card. Can we? I can't attack. Basically ever. It's huge. They're going to gain a bunch of life. 4 toughness is so much toughness. All right, here's the line. The line is swing with the team, and then next turn play Lurrus and cast one of the whatever dies here out of our graveyard. I think that's the line. I don't know that this is a winning line, but this is how we continue to play the game anyways. It's not the worst thing, but just a lot of value. Our opponent, with lands on the top of their deck here, going to gain life with Courser. This Soul Tide deck, once it gets the ball rolling, it gets out of control very, very quickly. And now my opponent gets to feed whatever they want into their graveyard for the Deathrite Shaman. All right, Ash Zealot, I like. All right, I guess this is what we'll do. I mean, we do still get to attack this. Well, I guess, technically. Now my opponent gets to eat it. We're just getting completely blown out by Deathrite Shaman. Fair enough. This means I do still get to attack, though. We get to poke through the tiny amounts of damage we can poke through. Oh, well. Just heads up play by my opponent. Blocking that one. But now that, I mean, that means they're basically committing their Deathrite Shaman mana to eating it, which is probably good enough, frankly. They've got the complete value train rolling over here. Don't really see a way that we're going to get out from underneath it. Even with the Cat Nightmare on our side. Sure. All right, well, we can play Ash Zealot. Don't see that getting us very far. My opponent has so many cards in hand, too. See how they want to end things. I'm not sure what we'd be hoping for to get back in it. I mean, I guess it would just have to draw running burn spells that we point in order at Jason and Deathrite Shaman essentially, and then hope that our opponent never gets anywhere. We had a hand that got out of the gates pretty quickly, but our opponent just honestly had a really good draw of their own. When the Soul Tide deck's mana works, and this was a big boon to this archetype, right? The Zagoth Triome, perfect mana fixing, cycling comes in handy because the deck draws a lot of cards late game. Pretty powerful. Yeah, I think that about does it for us. I mean, look, we're not dead, but we're pretty dead. I can't attack here. My opponent gets to loot. Let's see what they do here. Yep. Questing Beast on top. I have a creature that can block a Questing Beast. We do have this Lurrus of the Dream Den. I can jump in the way of that thing once. Turns out Courser Crufix is a 2/4. That is a good power and toughness against burn, I have to say. The 4 toughness, 3-drop going a long way in this format. All right, so this is 4 cards in the graveyard. So Jace gets to flip next turn. Oh, gets to flip now. Yeah, we're just dead. Yeah, they can just cast removal. All right, GG's. Fair enough. On to the next one. All right, it's time for more Lurrus here. Let's see. I think we're on the play here. We are, and this hand is pretty nice. I like this. We got Swiftspear, we got removal, we've got an Eidolon, we've got the perfect mana. This is an extremely good opener here, especially on the play. Go ahead and get in there. All right, so I'm not positive what we're going to do on turn 2 here. More than likely, we're just going to slam the Eidolon. I guess there might be some circumstance where we would instead go for the Light Up the Sage, but it's got to just be correct, I think, to play out the Eidolon. Put our opponent sort of on the back foot immediately, depending on what they do here on turn 1, and be able to keep up the pressure with the Swiftspear. I think that's a pretty good spot for us to be. Of course, it depends on what they do play. Hexproof. Okay, well, fair enough. I guess all of these burn spells will be going to the face. Definitely playing out the Eidolon now. Honestly, we're going to have to hope that this Eidolon is really good against them, because if they end up with some kind of, just strong lifelink enchantment, actually might be kind of bad for us. In fact, I don't think we'd be able to beat a lifelink enchantment. We might be able to race some other stuff here. We can Wild Slash them next turn. They're going to take some triggers off of the Eidolon. We have the Light of the Sage to try to refill as well. Going to be a close one. Honestly, probably more to do with what they have than what we have. But that said, them tapping for this SRAM on turn 2 here, taking damage from the Eidolon, not even suiting up the Gladecover Scout. This is basically the dream for us, because now I just get a Wild Slash this thing down. I'll happily take some damage from my own Eidolon right now. Yeah, this is perfect. We get to get in for damage here. My opponent doesn't even have a good block, so not only are they taking damage in combat and we get a half spectacle, they're taking 4, which is honestly a big chunk at this point in the game. And I'm going to light up the stage now, and let's go digging for some more gas. All right, so we've got a Lavarunner and a Wizard's Lightning, huh? The Lavarunner will have haste next turn. And I'll be able to cast the Wizard's Lightning. I'll be able to cast all 3 of these next turn. So I think that I'm going to do this with my land. I don't think it does any good to keep to shock or anything there, or to play the Battlefield Forge. I think all I want to do is just assume that next turn I'm untapping, playing Ghitu Lavarunner, Wizard's Lightning, Wild Slashing, and attacking, and hoping that it's good enough. Which is, I gotta say, what is this, turn 3? That was our turn 3? This is pretty good. This is a really nice position to pass back to the opponent, and with an Eidolon in play, with burn spells in hand, saying, okay, you've got a hexproof creature, try to figure out what you can put on it to get out of this. And no Spirit Link in this format. No Planar Chaos or Future Sight or whatever the heck set it was that put the Daybreak Coronet into Modern that gives you lifelink. I think I might have said Spirit Link, which is also a card that they play in that deck. But our opponents decided on a course of action. Let's see what it is. It's an All That Glitters, huh? That's not very good. It is a cool card. All That Glitters from Eldraine. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. But that's not really the first one you want to be putting into play with your Boggles deck here. All right, Griff's Boon. So this will make it a 4-something. What is it? A 4/3 flyer now, but that's not going to be good enough. My opponent took 2 triggers. They're down to 6. These Eidolons are all-stars in this matchup, right? That was very, very nice how that worked out for us right there. So let's go ahead and end this game real quick. Certainly taking some damage myself, that's for sure. Putting myself down to 8, but a price worth paying, I suppose. All right, so my opponent is scooping, and we are off to game 2. And this is actually really nice. We have these wear tears here. This is pretty cool. And I believe that Deflecting Palm works as well. So I have to say this might work out pretty nice. The skewers seem really, really bad, frankly. They don't seem good at all here because we're not going to be pointing it. The only creatures there we want to kill are basically the SRAMs, I think. Skewer not really we want to be, but the wear tears and the Deflecting Palm are huge because say my opponent gets a 10/10 or whatever. This will get them, right? This doesn't target. The next time a source of your choice. It doesn't target, so Hexproof does not stop Deflecting Palm. And then we have the wear tears to actually hit the enchantments themselves. So this is, I think, a pretty decent matchup for us. The sideboard here looks good. The Chain to the Rocks, the Searing Bloods, they don't get to come in. Even though I would like, I'd like them, clearly, right? I'd love to Searing Blood some SRAMs, but there is a real risk of them just rotting in your hand when you just need burn spells. So I think we have to just rely on the small amount of interaction we do have if they go all in on a hexproof creature, and then hope we can race them, because our deck's pretty good at doing that, it turns out. I never thought I'd be a burn player, and I don't think I am a burn player, but I will say I'm enjoying this. I've piloted burn once or twice in local tournaments. Never really played the deck, always just borrowing it in a pinch. But this is new to me. This is not Modern Burn, right? Where it's a little more. It's lava spikes. This one's got a little more spicy cards, right? You're gonna play the lava runners and the Soul-Scar Mages and the Wizards Lightning and ones that you're not the same burn deck you've been playing against for the last decade, I guess, right? Not that should make a difference in a competitive tournament, but in terms of a deck that I want to play in a competitive tournament, assuming we, ever get to play competitive tournaments in paper again, certainly hope so. Uh-oh. Yep. That's the Leyline of Sanctity. It's in their opening hand. It's in play. They have hexproof. This card does nothing. Actually, though, the rest of our hand does still kind of do stuff. It's nowhere near as bad as it could be. It turned the Boros Charm bad, but Boros Charm, it turns out, has other modes. We can give a creature double strike. We can make our permanents indestructible. That could matter if we end up blocking whatever they do to this Glade Cover Scout. There are ways that our deck, in particular, this build of Burn, can make Leyline of Sanctity a lot worse. And I just brought up the lava spikes. No lava spikes here. So Leyline of Sanctity not quite as strong. That said, all that glitters does make this a +2/+2, and here they come already. I don't even think I want to play the Eidolon, which is kind of unfortunate, but I think that's where we're at. Just we got to get in here with this thing. Play our light up the stage, I think. Just get it in while we can. See what we hit. Okay. I guess that's what I hit. All right, well, that's a lot of Eidolons. On the play, they think they're pretty good, and obviously there are ways they can work out on the draw, but when your opponent has the Leyline plus all the glitters, and they just start getting big on turn 3 here, I think we might be a little too far behind in the race to hope that slamming some Eidolons is going to be good enough. Oh gosh, the Ethereal Armor, it's a 7/7 on turn 3. Sure, why not? Can I put together a turn 4 kill? Is that what we're looking at here? I can block it, I suppose, so that's worth noting for future turns. Okay. Well, how about this? How about we make a oh, I can't do okay. And I can't put 7 toughness in front of this thing. Or 7 power, can I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can't try to set up a block and use a Boros Charm quite yet. So I think the line is play Eidolon, swing for 2, pass the turn. Pretty ugly, but hey, my opponent only has 1 card in hand. If it's a land, they draw another land. Then maybe the turn after that, we can untap and put 7 power in front of it and use Boros Charm to make our creatures indestructible and win the combat. I think that's basically the line we're playing towards here. It involves it. The problem is it involves it. Well, it either involves a chump block. Yeah, it's just going to involve a chump block. Well, there's another land from them. I'm not really sure how we're going to get out of this one. Okay. Leyline number 2. Why not? It does make it a 9/9. You know, without Trample, though, I guess I kind of have Eidolons for days. I don't really see a way in which we can win the game. I mean, Wear Tear is what we need. There's a Swiftspear. You know, Swiftspear's not the worst. Get in for 3 this time around. Big game here. You know, the thing is, if it wasn't for these Leylines, we actually would be racing this thing. Chump blocking, it's a viable strategy if we could be using this Boros Charm and this Wizard's Lightning for the 10 damage it represents at this point. Between the prowess triggers and so forth and the actual burn itself. But, all right, so my opponent comes in with the Glade Cover Scout. We chump block. And give a creature double strike to do 4. 5-6? They were just so far away. And my opponent's going to play defense? Okay. I did not expect that. But it's good for us. It's great for us. I think. I mean, the thing is, the second ley line does matter because now a wear tear can't hit that and it allows to point burn spells at their face. Not that I would complain about drawing wear and tear, obviously, but this is the situation I didn't think we'd get to it. We could legitimately try to block and kill this thing, right? Wow, okay. Oh, we drew the wear and tear? Wow, called it right like that. Okay. Does that change anything, though? I still just don't think I can attack. Having wear tear in hand is very, very good. Clearly. Destroy target enchantment. But I'm not really sure what happens if we just sit here and go back and forth. I mean, I need to draw creatures, essentially. We want to go wider than they do. But they can just slap some kind of scary enchantment on that and get us. But we want to try to go very wide. And cards like this are just, at the moment, actual blanks. With double ley line in play, those cards just don't do anything. I guess at this point, if we drew the second wear tear, we could tear both ley lines and then fire off a couple burn spells at our opponent before our own Eidolon killed us. There's a Sentinel's Eyes, huh? Okay, makes it a 10-10. Oh, 12-12, sorry. Okay. So suppose I tear all that glitters. That's going to remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to make it 7-7. I think I can kill this thing. I think we might just get our opponent here. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out. And I am certainly going to take some damage, though. It's a 6-6. That's tiny. All right, move to blocks. Now, my opponent's probably still feeling super safe because it has first strike, right? That's great. Your creature has first strike. It doesn't matter that I have this big team. But Boros Charm, turns out it has more than one mode. We're going to get the prowess triggers here. My opponent's ordering blockers. We're going to get the prowess triggers. And I think we're just going to kill the Glade Cover Scout in combat and hopefully win the game from there. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. It was grayed out. I got so scared for a minute. All right, permanents I control gain indestructible, please. And the thing is, for my opponent, that's such a tiny Glade Cover Scout now, 6-6. Even if they were to have a removal spell for one of my creatures, I think we'd still have enough to take it out. So this was pretty sick. Now I do put myself down to 6 damage in the 6 life in the process here, but I don't really know what my opponent's supposed to do without a board. They don't have burn spells, and we still have plenty to point back at them. All right, so we can deal with SRAM. The thing we're most scared of is basically another Glade Cover Scout, and they can do stuff like they can put the Sentinel's Eyes, I guess, on it, something like that. It's a Basara Tower Archer. Okay, same idea. It's a hexproof creature. What do our attacks look like now? Because again, my opponent is stuck under this Eidolon too, so this is trouble for them as well. And there's a SRAM. Can I win? I think I might win now. No, not quite. So I can Wild Slash the SRAM down. Damage can't be prevented this turn. That could matter. Actually, that could come up. It doesn't come up right now. All right, so I could Wild Slash this thing, put myself to 4, swing. I only get in 6. But then my opponent's trading. We might be able to just win now. Now that I come to think of it, actually, depending on, I guess, how my what my opponent does. I had to think this one through. I think that this plays fine, though. I don't want to punt this game. Okay, so my opponent's at 8. If we swing with everything, right now 6 is getting through. If we swing and they block the Monastery Swiftspear, say, then we Wild Slash, say the Monastery Swiftspear. We go down to 2. We get another Prowess trigger, and we get in for 7. That's not lethal. But the reality, then we have the Eidolon, and my opponent can't do anything. So yeah, it's actually just correct here to slam with the team. There's not really any line that they can win. My opponent says GG in chat, and looks like they don't even bother to block. There we go, everybody. Taking it down with Burn. Pioneer Burn. That was fun. Look, it's Punting Pioneer. I'm sure I didn't play perfectly, but I had a great time playing the deck. If you are the person who likes to fling lightning bolts at your opponent, Burn is pretty good right now in Pioneer. I picked this up as off of 5-0 in a league. So it's got some competitive chops to it. So check it out, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. From my office, wherever you're watching from, thank you so much for watching Punting Pioneer. Every week, every Thursday, I have either Punting Pioneer or Mining Modern up on Cool Stuff. So thank you for watching. Make sure to check out the content in the future. Stay safe out there. I'll see you next time.